Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Priscilla Obasi. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now the news in detail. Vice President Kashim Shettima has led other prominent Nigerians at the third day Fidel prayers for late ex-president Muhammadu Buhari, who died on Sunday in London, England. The prayer session was held within the premises of the late former president's private residence in Daura, Katsina State, saw several sympathizers in attendance. Shettima arrived at the venue of the event at about 12:23 p.m., while the prayers commenced at about 12:30 p.m. with several Islamic leaders leading in the supplication. Fidel prayer is a time for friends and family to gather and pray for the forgiveness of the deceased sins and to seek blessings for the afterlife. Following the passing of Nigeria's former president, Muhammadu Buhari, tributes have continued to pour in from across the country as top government officials, institutions, and political leaders express their condolences and reflect on his legacy. From the presidential villa to the National Assembly and across party lines, leaders have paid glowing tributes to the man generally described as a patriot, disciplined statesman, and a symbol of integrity. Kabir Hassan reports.
Nigeria stands in solemn reflection as condolences pour in from all corners of the country over the death of the former President Muhammadu Buhari. Beyond politics, religious and traditional leaders offered prayers and remembrance message with nationwide flag flying at half-mast. Governors across the 36 states also joined the nation in mourning, each highlighting the late president's legacy of public service, humility, and dedication to national unity. Katsina State Governor Dikko Radda holds the burial of the former President Buhari, describing him as a son of the soil, a leader whose humility, discipline, and devotion to national unity set a standard for all Nigerians. He also expressed gratitude for the opportunity to honor Buhari in his hometown, calling his legacy an enduring source of inspiration for future generations. Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum described Buhari as a leader who stood firm against insecurity and remained committed to building the Northeast. Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State recalled Buhari's discipline, transparency, saying he was a father figure to many of us. Also, the Nigerian Governors Forum, NGF, in collaborative statement by its chairman, Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak of Kwara State, described Buhari as a patriot whose modest lifestyle, integrity, and sense of duty remain unmatched in Nigeria's leadership history. Youth groups and civil society organizations highlighted Buhari's impact on national identity, urging Nigerians to uphold the value he stood for: discipline, accountability, and national pride. Following his burial in his hometown of Daura, Katsina State, Nigerians continue to reflect on the life and legacy of Muhammadu Buhari, a former head of state, two-time president, and a man who left an incredible mark on the country's political landscape. As condolence registers remains open and tribute continues to pour in, the nation bids farewell to a man whose journey in public service spans over 5 decades. Kabir Hassan reporting for Global TV News.
The Nigeria Air Force says it will intensify efforts to conduct scheduled and unscheduled maintenance activities to improve the existing aircraft serviceability rates. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Bala Abubakar, who made this known at the 2023 Aircraft Engineering Conference in Abuja, added that the force will also build capacity on in-depth maintenance on the existing and new aircraft acquisitions. Kikelomo Ukere has the details.
The role of aircraft engineering in the military operations cannot be overemphasized as the backbone that supports the Nigerian Air Force mission and objective. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Bala Abubakar, says the conference aligned with the proactive logistics support and strong maintenance culture, as well as prioritizing research and development, leveraging cutting-edge technology and strategic partnership. It says a strong maintenance culture directly contributes to the high serviceability rate necessary to enhance the operational effectiveness for sustained air power delivery in furtherance of national security objectives.
A strong maintenance culture directly contributes to the high serviceability rates necessary to enhance our operational effectiveness for sustained air power delivery in furtherance of national security objectives. Likewise, strategic partnerships play a key role in enhancing aircraft serviceability by bridging capability gaps, accelerating technical capacity development, and ensuring the timely availability of critical spares.
Earlier, the Chief of the Aircraft Engineering, Nigerian Air Force Headquarters, Air Vice Marshal Abiola Ilemobayo Amodu, says the conference provides an invaluable opportunity to share insights, explore innovative strategies, and enhance the understanding of how effective aircraft maintenance culture can directly impact the operational readiness and efficiency of the service.
This conference provides us with an invaluable opportunity to share insights, explore innovative strategies, and enhance our understanding of how effective aircraft maintenance culture can directly impact our operational readiness and efficiency.
The theme of the conference, Enhancing Aircraft Serviceability in the Nigerian Air Force through Strong Maintenance Culture and Strategic Partnership, brought together experienced, dedicated professionals, both serving and retired, to discuss the prevailing aircraft engineering issues in the service in order to propose innovative way forward. Kikelomo Ukere, Global Television News.
On security, some Nigerians have applauded late President Muhammadu Buhari, while others criticize his time as the commander-in-chief. In this report, some Nigerians who spoke to correspondent Ubong Busoro reflected on Buhari's promise to secure the country. The report.
When Muhammadu Buhari campaigned for the presidency in 2015, one of his core promises, and perhaps the most urgent, was to bring an end to Nigeria's growing insecurity. As a former military head of state, many Nigerians believed he had both the experience and the discipline needed to tackle the country's worsening security crisis. At the time, large portions of the northeast were under the grip of Boko Haram. Towns had fallen, soldiers were demoralized, and thousands of Nigerians were either dead, displaced, or living in fear. The country longed for a strong leader, someone who would restore peace and rebuild national confidence. Buhari offered that hope. His campaign slogan, "Change," captured the nation's desperation for security and stability.
I think those that are misbehaving, they were either too young, they didn't know what happened. But for those of us who went through all these things, we can't understand. So we will treat them in the language they understand. So I feel for your understanding and so on. We are going to be very hard sooner than later.
But was it enough? Did he deliver that promise? Some Nigerians believe that he did well as regards handling insecurity.
Mr. Buhari came and he inherited some challenges in terms of security. According to records, he did his best in saying that insecurity is totally wiped out. But unfortunately, crime and criminality has to do with in every society. So that is what I would say. He appointed so many people that can work to see these security issues has been settled. That's why he used to appoint people that are living in that places for them to go and have this for their people so that they improve the security aspect. So he has released so many funds for him to see this thing has stopped. He have done well. He went to the places I've seen. Every time he talked about, he wanted to appoint people that can work for the country in order to see a better Nigeria.
While others believe otherwise.
It was a failure, colossal failure, because we have never had that kind of insecurity in Nigeria before in the history of this nation, where the total northeast was ravaged by the Boko Haram, the terrorists, and even the northwest, the north in general. Or you talk about the southeast, where you have the terrorists there.
To a place of no return. During his regime, the insecurity issue was not tackled perfectly. We had so many cases like kidnapping, especially in the eastern part of Nigeria. In the north, we had cases of bandits, Boko Haram, bombing from place to place. To an extent, police were like even scared of, and even military men to go down there.
Now that Buhari is gone, Nigerians are left to access not just his intentions, but the realities of his time in power. For some, he was a warrior who fought for peace. For others, he was a general who promised more than he delivered. Ubong Usoro, reporting for Global TV.
President Muhammadu Buhari has been buried in the compound premises of his private residence in Daura, Katsina State. He was buried under the shade of trees, where he usually sat to unwind and interact with friends and associates. The burial, conducted according to Islamic rites, marked the culmination of a period of profound national mourning for a leader who served Nigeria both as a military head of state and democratically elected president. Kikelomo Okere has the details.
Immediately after the burial, security operatives fired 21-gun salutes at the entrance of his private residence.
Fire! Reload! Up! 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 Missile! Fire!
3 shots were fired at exactly 5:33 p.m. Another 3 shots 2 minutes later, until the entire shots were completed. The security operatives, dressed in green and red attire, had earlier held a brief parade in honor of the late president. The former president's body arrived at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport, Katsina, aboard Nigeria Air Force Flight 5N FGT 00 p.m. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, alongside Katsina State Governor Dr. Dikko Rada, his deputy Farouk Lawal, among others prominent personalities, received the body at the airport. Buhari's remains were accompanied from the United Kingdom by Vice President Kashim Shettima and other prominent leaders of the country. Upon arrival in Daura, about an hour drive from Katsina, his body was briefly laid in state for friends and family members and other relevant persons to say their final goodbyes. A prominent imam, Ustaz Azan Yusuf, led other prominent personality in the funeral prayer that marked part of the burial rites. The funeral prayer, which also lasted a few minutes, was completed at exactly 4:56 p.m. at the helipad site, where helicopters are ferrying him where he comes to town touch down. Before the burial, hundreds of residents held funeral prayers for the late president, with some of them shedding tears while supplicating for repose of his soul. Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News.
A sense of grief was pervasive across northern Nigeria as former President Muhammadu Buhari was buried. The mood of mourning also came with northerners gathering to offer prayers for the ripples of the soul of Buhari, who died on Sunday in a London, United Kingdom hospital. Emirs and district heads of Katsina State exemplified the morning mood, with palaces flying their flags at half-mast just as clerics were invited to offer prayers for Buhari. Short sermons saw reflections on Buhari's life and of simplicity, honesty, and patriotism. The presidency has faulted the claim of reciprocity by the United States government as the reason for its current visa policy towards Nigeria, saying that the claim does not accurately reflect the actual situation. This was contained in a statement issued by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga. Onanuga, in a statement, said immediately after assuming office, President Tinubu's administration issued a service-wide directive that Nigeria implement a bilateral agreement with other nations and adhere to the principle of reciprocity in diplomatic relations. Moving on, the Nigeria Immigration Service says it will inaugurate a new digital platform for the application of the Combined Expatriate Residence Permit and Alien Card on August 1. This was contained in a statement issued by the Service Public Relations Officer, Assistant Comptroller of Immigration, Mr. Akinsola Akinlabi, in Abuja. Akinlabi said the development was in line with the federal government's ongoing efforts to reform the NIS and enhance the efficiency, transparency, and accessibility of its services. The executive chairman of Makurdi Local Government of Benue State, Joseph Kefi, has expressed deep appreciation following the deployment of over 500 military troops and security personnel to key areas within the local government as part of a comprehensive strategy to combat insecurity in the local government at large. This was contained in a statement by the media aide, Teran Nathan, says the troops have been strategically stationed in Baglag, Agan, and other parts of local government which have been severely affected by insecurity caused by armed herders. These attacks have displaced residents, halted farming activities, and threatened community livelihood. The Imo State Police Commissioner, CP Aboki Danjuma, has issued a firm directive banning all tactical teams operating under the command from using unmarked vehicles, including minibuses and tricycles, popularly called keke, during patrol operations across the state. In a statement issued by the spokesperson of the command, DSP Henry Okoye, he stated that the new directive followed numerous complaints of harassment, intimidation, and extortion by some tactical officers operating in an unapproved vehicle while on routine patrol. The statement added that the Commissioner of Police described the act as grossly unprofessional and warned that any team found violating the new directive will face immediate sanctions. A federal high court in Lagos has discharged and acquitted former Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose of all charges in his long-standing money laundering case brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The court upheld Fayose's no-case submission, effectively ruling that the prosecution failed to establish a prima facie case against him to warrant further defense. Fayose had been standing trial on allegations bordering on money laundering and fraud during his tenure as governor. However, after years of legal proceedings, the court found that the evidence presented by the commission was insufficient to sustain the charges. Rivers State Administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, has demanded a credible local government election from Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission. This was contained in a statement issued by the administration's senior special advisor on media, Hector Ibikwubo, charging the other newly appointed board members to uphold the highest standards of discipline, competence, integrity, and unwavering dedication in their service to the state. Ibas gave the charge while inaugurating the reconstituted state electoral body, Rivers State Civil Service Commission, Rivers State Local Government Service Commission, and the Rivers Primary Health Care Management Board at the Government House, Port Harcourt. Watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. When News Cycle returns, Lagos unveils 500 billion naira for micro, small and medium projects for women traders. Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now in business news, an official data from the United Kingdom indicates that the British inflation has jumped unexpectedly to an 18-month high in June, heaping more pressure on the government and its economy. The inflation update follows recent official data showing Britain's economy unexpectedly contracted for a second month running in May, placing more strain on Prime Minister Keir Starmer and the United Kingdom as it faces uncertainty caused by United States tariffs. The report by the United Kingdom Office from the National Statistics added that the Consumer Price Index increased to 3.6% last month compared with an annual inflation rate of 3.4% in May as motor fuel and other prices stayed high. On the foreign scene, tributes continue to pour from world leaders following the death of Nigeria's former president, Muhammadu Buhari, who passed away on Sunday in London at the age of 82. The retired general and two-term civilian leader is being remembered for his impacts on Africa's stability, anti-corruption efforts, and international diplomacy. Mukhtar Kasim reports.
The United Nations described Buhari as a steadfast voice for regional peace, with Secretary General Antonio Guterres highlighting his role in the fight against terrorism and regional stability. From Africa's top institutions came strong praise. The African Union called him a resolute leader, while Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, said he was a statesman committed to democracy and regional cooperation. African heads of state joined in mourning. South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa called him a pillar of African conscience, and Kenya's William Ruto described him as a towering statesman. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed praised his discipline and moral strength. From the Middle East and Asia, leaders expressed admiration. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed Buhari as a steadfast friend of India, while Saudi Arabia's King Salman and Crown Prince acknowledged his role in promoting Islamic solidarity and security. Western governments also offered condolences. The United States mission in Nigeria praised Buhari's commitment to public trust. China called him a visionary partner, and the European Union credited him for his support of multilateralism and democratic principles. Late President Muhammadu Buhari was buried on Tuesday in his hometown of Daura with full military honors. While views on his leadership at home remain mixed, international tributes reflect his stature as a respected statesman on the global stage. Mukhtar Kasim, reporting for Global Television.
Western diplomats and officials say France and United Kingdom and Germany will reinstate harsh sanctions on Iran by the end of August if no progress is made on a nuclear deal. French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot says the economic penalties on Iran that were lifted under the 2015 agreement in return for allowing restrictions and monitoring of its nuclear program would return by the end of next month at the latest if there is no breakthrough. The deadline was announced as pressure mounts on diplomats to find a new solution to Iran's nuclear ambition, which Tehran has reiterated as civilian in nature in the wake of massive Israeli and United States strikes on the last month. Now in sports, President of the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, AFN, Tinubu Okowa, and the Technical Director of the Federation, Gabriel Okon, have expressed confidence in the country's 92 athlete contingent for the third Confederation of Africa Athletics Under 18 and Under 20 Championship, which begins in Abeokuta, Ogun State. The Nigerian team for the event has made 51 male and 41 female athletes as the country hosts about 40 African nations for the championship. The Federation stated that the team moved into Championship Village after 2 weeks of camping shortly after the national trials in Shegamu, Ogun State. And that is it on Global TV News Cycle. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTime channel 276. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms now showing on your screen using the handle @Global TV NG. I am Priscilla Obasi. Thank you very much for watching. Good evening.